Therese Smith, your hostess with the mostest. I'm being really weird right now because I actually have some time to myself. I'm really hot. I was just doing some house cleaning. This was a terrible idea. The dishwasher's in the background.
A few moments later.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Sassy Knits. I'm your host, Therese. Welcome, 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 whether you're new, whether old. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and most importantly, thank you so much for your warm welcome with the last episode, my first episode, my return episode back to the YouTubes. It had been a while. I was a little rusty, I was feeling it, but you all welcome me back. I have a couple of new viewers, couple meaning like a couple of new viewers, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. Let me just say, it's been a wild ride since that episode came out. I'll fill you in about it a little later. But to suffice it to say, I'd planned to get an episode out last week, and life has kind of totally changed for me. And I'm not really joking. I'm not really joking. Things are a little different now than they were when that last episode came out. So this is the first time I've been able to sit down and record anything over the last like 2-3 weeks, right? So I'll fill you all in later because it's wild, man. It's wild. Yeah. Woo! Anyway, so I'm sitting down. My family is actually out. It's a Saturday, and my husband has taken my youngest to her very first birthday party. I think I told you all, she just started school this year. She's in junior kindergarten. She didn't do any preschool stuff like that before because she's a COVID baby and I was a stay-at-home mom. So she's been home this whole time, and she's met a bunch of friends at her school, and she was invited to her very first birthday party, and it's today, and she was so excited, and it was so cute. So she's there now, and then my husband and my oldest are out trying to get my oldest some winter boots because her feet are almost the size of mine, and she's 9. Yeah. So anyway, they're out for the afternoon. They're out because I actually have a thing to go to in about like an hour and a bit. So I have like this tiny little bit of time where I raced around to clean up, and now here I am sitting here talking with you. So excited. I feel like we should just get right into it so that if you are not interested in my life or books, because of course we'll talk about books later, you can just like go away with my blessing at the end of this. But I feel like maybe we should just kind of get into it because that's what you're here for, right? Also, I don't have a ton to show you. I think I mentioned in the last episode, I am mostly a monogamous knitter. So I don't tend to have a bunch of things going at one time, but I do have a few things to show you this week. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, actually. That's pretty impressive. In 3 weeks, I have 4 things, finished objects to talk to you about. What? A lot of them are small. Actually, they're all fairly small things to show you. But that's what I got done in the last 3 weeks since our last episode. First and foremost, in the last episode, we were talking about socks and how I was re-knitting some of my old favorite socks from last year when I realized that my gauge changed. And so I wanted to take those old socks with yarn made by Indie Dyers, and I wanted to redo them so they actually fit my feet better. So I showed you a couple of the ones I was working on, and then my work in progress was my last pair that I had to do, and they're done. And I've worn them once already, and I was so happy. So these are, remember, no sock blockers here. I don't have them. I know. I feel like a fraud as a knitting YouTuber here, but this is what real knitted socks look like. So this is just my classic vanilla sock recipe. And I showed you guys in the last episode that I actually cast on, I do it to cuff down I cast on 72 and then I slowly decrease to 64 stitches and then I finish the heel. And with my striped socks, because I do like the look of the afterthought heel, but I can never seem to get that afterthought heel to fit me properly, I just do a German short row and then knit, 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 and I did the end. This particular yarn is Comfy Cozy Knits. This is her yarn advent from last year called Vintage Christmas. It came with the striped set. It's a 6 stripe repeat, and it came with a mini with this beautiful matching color. I'm just dying over it. It's so lovely. And then I just chose the gray as the heel. I love this, and I will look up the specifics in a minute, but I know that she has this yarn out now in her shop. You can buy it now. And as of today, Saturday, she's having a 20% off sale, but I'm going to double check and I'll put it here or in the description whether or not it's still on sale as of this video coming out. Hopefully you're receiving this on Monday. If not, you're never getting it. And I'll tell you why later. But yes, as of today, she has 20% off everything in her store, including this colorway. So if you love it, you want to get it yourself, go onto her store, you can get it. And I believe that's all I have to say about these socks. I'm very excited because her advent for this year came in the mail not long ago, and it's been sitting there wrapped because I'm not going to open it until November 30th when I unwrap it and I ball it up and get it ready to cast on December 1st. I'm so excited about it. So in the next episode, you might get some spoilers on that advent. That's so exciting. All right, so that's my socks. Next, I have it's part of a Christmas present that I've been working on. And you'll have seen in the kind of vlog clip beforehand that I went to Michael's recently to get some yarn. And some of the yarn was for this particular project. And I'm super excited about it. When I started thinking about crochet, because this is a crochet finished item, one of the things I wanted to do was crochet like bags and like buckets and things that I could put things in. And I've yet to do that until now. Look at this. What? This is my first time ever. I'm so happy. This is the Jessie stash bag by YarnCraft. And as soon as I saw this pattern, I saw it on her YouTube channel. I said, I want to make a bunch of these for Christmas gifts. And I went, oh, look, that's my kitty, Job. Hi, Joby. Sorry, he's probably going to eat over there. I hope he doesn't start cleaning himself, which he loves to do every time I turn on a video camera. That's great. So we're going to keep an eye on him. Anyway, yes. So Jessie stash bag. Hello. What? Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Super fuzzy. I love it. One day I will make one for myself. This is made out of Lion Brand Thick and Quick. Terrible YouTuber today because I don't remember the name of it. I believe it's Thick and Quick. I think it's Lion Brand. I know it's Thick and Quick, but Lion Brand Thick and Quick held double. Friends, my hands were hurting making this bag, and I was trying not to be too tight with it, but it was Thick and Quick held double. And the pattern, I purchased it, but you can actually get it for free from her website, and I'll link it down below. But I like to purchase it because, I mean, freaking websites, it's 500 ads long, and I totally support you in being paid for what you do, whether it's with all of these ads popping up or just purchasing it. I can't handle it. I purchased the pattern on Ravelry so I could just print it off and not worry about it. But I also watched the video because there's an accompanying video to go with it, because there's a stitch in here, the waistcoat stitch. Slow down, girlfriend. You're rushing through it. The waistcoat stitch that I'd never done before. And to be honest, you can kind of see here, there's like little gaps between the stitches, and then all of a sudden it lines up perfectly. I was kind of doing it wrong for a little bit, and I debated whether or not to go back and fix it. And in the end, I'm like, nah, I'm not. That's not happening. I'll know because I want to make 1 to 2 more of these. But now I know for the next one, it's going to be awesome. So what else can I say about this? Watching the video really helped. And I'm a beginner crocheter. And as a beginner crocheter, once I got the hang of it and when I realized what I was doing wrong with the waistcoat stitch, I was off. I was off and running, and I highly recommend it. It's super easy. Thick and quick, I can see why it's so popular. I've never used it before, and it's so fuzzy. It was so fuzzy. Other than the fact that I had to hold it double, and it made it really, really kind of, it could be a bit of a pain to work with on its own. Oh yeah, I can see a few more projects over the winter being made with the Thick and Quick. So that's the Jessie stash bag by YarnCraft. She also has a little bucket, and I bought that pattern as well, and it's the same waistcoat stitch pattern, but she's got a little bucket, so a smaller version you can make as well, which I had planned to make for teachers this year, but I don't think that's gonna happen. We've got a time crunch now. Anyway, so that's that. Highly recommend it. YarnCraft. I think I made something. Well, actually, the next project is also a TL YarnCraft project. So let's get to that one. I made some little coasters. Oh, there's actually pink in there. It's a very light pink. I was hoping to stash dive to make a couple of like little Christmas coasters. You can say this one was my first one because then this one got a lot smaller. I think once I got more comfortable, I don't know what happened, but it's a lot smaller. But I wanted to make some Christmas ones, and I didn't have any dark green, and I didn't have any red. I was, whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do when you're like, I need some quick coasters. So I made these little coasters. These are TL YarnCrafts. If I could remember the name of the Sunshine Coasters. They're called the Sunshine Coasters. They're like little suns, I think. I think that's why she did it. Now, these were my first time doing coasters. I'm such a newbie with crochet. I feel like this was my first time deciding that the pattern itself doesn't have different colors. It's all just one tone. But I wanted to do different colors, and I feel like I totally really like, that doesn't look good. It looks a little better here because you can't really notice it. But I mean, when I put this down, I turn it away from me and then I put my mug on top of it. So I'm learning. I got to learn how to do that a little better, but you know, whatever. For my first ones, and I do have, this is a whip. I've been making more because once Christmas is over, obviously I want to have some different ones. So I have a white one here. I have a light beige color, like a very light beige. I'm going to make it out of that as well. I'm practicing my coasters for me, not for others, for me. This is for my desk because I'm going to talk about something that this is for later. But I've been using them. I didn't even wash it. I actually do need to wash them because I want to make them a little bit more flat, but I was in a hurry to use them. So it's, this is made out of Hobie yarn, the cotton 8-4 cotton. And the TL YarnCraft, she uses a bit of a thicker cotton yarn. So this is also a bit thinner, and I used a smaller crochet hook, 3.5. I used a 3.5 hook for these. Not the same, but it doesn't really matter. You just do what you got to do. You're just making a little thing that your cup can sit on. So as long as your cup can sit on it, does it really matter? No, it does not. Coasters, finished. Finito, done, boom. My last finished project isn't here. It is actually on the wearer that I made it for. And I think that's the best thing. That's like the best compliment, right? When you can't find it because the person it was intended for is actually wearing it. So if I can get a picture of it before this goes up, I'll insert it. If not, I'll just insert a picture of like the pattern photo. But I made Q, my oldest, a Antler Toque by Tin Can Knits. And I made it for her out of, I'm not prepared. It was a cream colored yarn. I want to say it was also Lion Brand, not thick and quick though. Oh my goodness, I should have made notes. This is what happens when you're not prepared. But anyway, it's actually the same color. It's this cream color. She got a new winter jacket this year. That's this beautiful pumpkin-y rust color. And on the inside of the hood, it's this cream colored fleece. So we needed to change up all of her color coordinating things this year. I still have to get her some mittens in like some sort of matching color, maybe not cream because she's 9. But we decided to do a cream colored hat, and I'm going to look for like a matching pumpkin-y rusty colored faux fur pom-pom to go on top. But until I did find one, but then the shipping on that thing was bonkers, absolutely bonkers. And I refused to spend that much on shipping a pom-pom. So she's going to wear it as is for now until I can find the perfect pom-pom that's not going to break the bank. And it looks good and it's lovely. And I don't know if you've seen the Antler Toque before, but it's got these lovely cables all over. I've actually made it twice before for the kids. Their last hats were both Antler Toques until the great dryer incident of January 2023. Let us all have a moment. Okay, we're back. All right. Everything is fine, right? They needed new hats anyway. So there we go. My daughter actually didn't make her new hat. I bought one. She's also wearing it right now, but it's adorable. It is a knitted cap with the world's biggest pom-pom. It is almost the size of her head. It's the most adorable thing I've ever seen. But Q is currently wearing her hat for the first time, so we'll see how it works out. I made her an adult small just so that she can like continue to wear it for a while. It's also 100% wool because I wanted to make sure we live in Canada. We live in Ontario. We get like minus 20 degree with the wind chill, sometimes up to minus 30 degrees in the wintertime. She needs something warm to cover her ears. So I am very much, if I'm going to do a winter hat, it is going to be a hat that comes down and then rolls up, and I want it to be wool to cover the ears. I'm also thinking of going super extra, buying a bar of lanolin soap and like doing like a cover with lanolin so it's waterproof. I've never done it before. I saw it on YouTube. I was super, super impressed by it, and I was thinking I might do that myself. So if you have any tips and tricks about that, or where I can get a great bar of lanolin soap here in Canada, let me know in the comments. What about works in progress? I know that's what you want to know, what I'm working on now. So let's talk. I don't have much else to show you, to be honest. I finished the Antler hat 2 days ago, and I was almost done everything I had. So all I've got is what's in here. P.S. Somebody was asking me about this wonderful Christmas bag, and it is from Purple Circle Yarn Company. I'll leave her Etsy shop below. She gave this to me when I had her advent calendar last year, and I love it, and I save it just for Christmas time. And so, of course, I have a new set of Christmas socks. Last year, Hobie Yarns had a sale in the new year, and I stocked up on, well, stocked up is a generous term. I bought 1 ball of Christmas sock yarn and 1 ball of Halloween sock yarn. And so I saved both of those. I was hoping to do both this year, but I didn't get around to the Halloween one. So I have that to save for next year. But I did break out the Christmas one. What? How fabulous is this? Perfect Christmassy colors with gold sparkles. And I was trying to find something in my stash for accent colors. I really didn't have anything great. So I just stuck with the gray theme. And I think it works just fine. But again, this is just like the one I did before. My vanilla sock pattern with a German short row heel. And that one is done. And I am currently working on the second sock. My goal, I work on these at night while we're watching TV because it's easy. My goal is to get this done this week because I do want to start my Comfy Cozy Knit Advent socks this time next Saturday, and I don't want to have both socks on the go. I want to be able to wear these ones and then start on hers. So my goal this week is really just to work on this and make another one of these. I need to make one more of these. I actually want to make 2 more, but I only have yarn to make 1 more. Then I have to go back to Michael's because these are $10 a ball and I needed 4 balls each. So it was a lot of yarn. Like what? So I do need to go back to get more yarn for the last one. That's fine. I'm okay with it. But anyway, so these are my current Christmas socks. These are Addy 2.25 needles. I think I have 2.25 in Hayas, not my beloved Chow Goose, with long enough for me to do magic loop. So I've just been using my Addies. If you want a quick note about these were my first pair of needles I bought for myself. I was using super cheap ones beforehand that I got from Amazon, was crying because I snapped them constantly. So I sucked it up, went to what was our local yarn shop at the time, rest in peace. And I bought these and I spent $20 on them and I thought, oh my God, that's so much money. But anyway, so these have a special place in my heart. Addies are really good and I just don't use them as much because I don't like the wire, but they're really good. They knit up so well. So I've just been using these for my socks. And this is I think you can still get this off of Hobie's website, the sparkle yarn. And so I've just been knitting on those and making, I just finished that one other coaster and I might make a couple more, but I might put those on the back burner for now simply because I got to figure out what else I got to make leading up to Christmas. I don't do a ton of holiday making other than cookies, but there's a couple things I want to do. I want to make some cowls for the kids. I need a hat, so I really need to focus on that because it started, I saw some snow yesterday, so I really need to work on a hat for myself. So there's a couple little things that are kind of important to make before I sit down and do anything else like coaster making or anything. But that's all the works in progress I've got for you. That's everything I made in the last 3 weeks. So please tell me in the comments, what are you working on right now? And are you doing any holiday making at all? Tell me what it is. I want to know. Hi.
Hey, look at me.
Okay, Mommy's going to say something. Okay?
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been a terrible vlogger. I seem to only vlog when we're about to leave and go out somewhere. But here we go. It is Saturday and this one and I are gonna go out for a walk. We have to run some errands. Yeah. And then maybe we'll do a quick stop at a certain donut place. Yeah. Okay, so get some donuts. So maybe you guys can come along with us and see what that's all about. We'll see. We're going by the store we need to go by first. So
Okay.
we shall see.
Look at that. Do you see the Hello Kitty? How cute. Let's get a basket, maybe? Yeah, just get that one. You can just... Alright. Oh, good one. Okay, let's go. Keep on. Oh my goodness. One more time. Nice one.
Can we talk books? Can we talk the things that we are doing or listening to, watching, whatever, while we make things? To be fair, I'm not actually reading these books while I'm knitting. I'll often listen to an audiobook or else I'm watching TV. But I do love to read. I want to show you what I'm reading. So a lot of my reading actually happens on this little magical baby right here, my Kobo. And I do love physical books, but we have such little space in our house that we don't have the room. Now, eventually, I'm looking to get 2 IKEA larger Billy bookcases to go across that wall there. This is my bedroom. And then we can get a few more books in. But, I mean, e-readers are great because you can store so much on them and bring them everywhere with you. But I do love a regular book too, like a paper book. But most of mine right now are coming in audio form or on my e-reader. And since our last episode, I have finished The Road Through the Wall by Shirley Jackson. What? I haven't read this one before. This was her very first full-length novel. And in true Shirley Jackson form, it's a slow burn. And it's one of the things that I do appreciate about it, and it's one of the things that I was like, ugh. It's a little long. I listened to it on audio. And the audio, the narrator, the voice actor who does it was really good. I can't recall her name right now. And I think there's more than one version anyways. She did a great job. I did find it was a little, for a slow burn, it was a little too slow. I think it was 12 hours? Something like that. But it was also really good. If you read any Shirley Jackson, you know that she was a master at being able to weave storylines around what's happening in society and then doing something to just go, wait, what? At the end, right? And this was I think it takes place in the 30s. It takes place in the 1930s. And I am telling you, and this is the same goes for The Haunting of Hill House. And I think a lot of her other stories too, but especially when I listen to The Haunting of Hill House or I read the book, you could just transplant that entire storyline into 2023 and you would barely have to change any of the wording. It is that relevant. And the storyline is still that relevant. With The Road Through the Wall, it's Shirley Jackson talking about this street, this community on this street, and what they go through. And you can tell that Shirley Jackson took elements of her own life, because if you know anything about her life, she was really a woman who became a housewife and a mother when she really had no business doing that. She was definitely not one who was suited towards that lifestyle, and she was thrust into it because that's what was expected of her. And The Road Through the Wall talks about that kind of suburban lifestyle and what happens when you have a bunch of middle-class white people, you know, Christian white people on a block, and the sexism, racism, and all of that come together. And it's still, sadly, considering this is almost 100 years old, that like the book itself didn't come out in the 30s. It just takes place in the 30s, and how relevant it still all is today. So I loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 only because it's a little too slow. But it's still also very engaging to listen to. So there you go. I still highly recommend it. Shirley Jackson has become one of my absolute favorite authors of all time. She's just incredible. The other book I finished, and I talked about this on the last show, was the Kaiju Preservation Society. Let me double check the author. It was John Scalzi. I'll put it in the description box for you. Anyway, I finished that one. My goodness, that was a treat. It was highly recommended. It was so much fun. At the end, when he's talking about acknowledgements, he talks about how he wanted to make this book like a pop song. He wrote it after the pandemic when he canned this book that he was trying to write. He was commissioned to write. And he's like, I don't have it in me. The pandemic has just sucked all of this out. I need to do something different. So he started writing this book, and he said he wanted it to be like a pop song, like light and airy, and you're there for a good time. And that's exactly what it is. So it's about a woman who, at the beginning of the pandemic, she's working at the head office of a delivery food service, kind of like Uber Eats, and she gets fired. And she winds up becoming a delivery person for that actual company. And she's trying to figure out how she's going to be able to afford her apartment when the whole world is shutting down. And she winds up getting a job from a former high school friend. And it was a cagey job, but she'd get paid very well. She'd be able to keep her apartment and her roommates that are currently living there. And so she's like, I can't say no to this. So she takes it, only to find out, this is not a spoiler because it's in the title, only to find out that there is an alternate Earth where there are no people but kaiju. And kaiju are like Godzilla, King Kong, kind of like those giant monsters. And it's kind of their job to preserve their way of life there and to make sure that they can't come into our Earth and people from our Earth can't come over there. And of course there's a shenanigan and blah, blah, blah. Now I'm telling you, there's nothing new. There's nothing, I overthought what was going to happen. I'm like, oh, this is definitely going to happen. And it didn't happen. It was even more simpler than that. So, but it was exactly what you need for like a palate cleanser, something that's not overly complicated and you're there for a good time. There's humor in it. There's kaiju in it. It's a fun little romp. You're going to have a good time. It's a quick, easy, great read. I highly enjoyed it. So if you think that might be something that you're into, I highly recommend it. It's a fun book to put a smile on your face and then like move on. And then the last book I read was a nonfiction book I finished, and it was called Burnout by, Dr. Emily Nagoski and her sister Amelia Nagoski. And Emily Nagoski also has another book called Come As You Are, and I highly recommend it if for every female presenting person on this planet, you need to read that book. And it was because of that book, and she mentions some of the stuff from burnout that made me go, oh, I should read this book. So I picked it up, I got it on sale, and I started it, finished it, loved it. And it really does, it is geared towards women. She does talk about transgender women and female presenting, but there's reasons she goes into that. She's like, we don't have as much information about that side of things right now. It talks about how most women, let's say, why we experience burnout, and then how to move through burnout. And she talks about stress being a cycle, and how even in instances where we can't get rid of the stress, i.e. you can't just up and quit a stressful job very easily, right? But we can manage the stress that we have within those situations as caregivers. And it was so enlightening, so like, oh, this makes so much sense. I can't recommend it enough. Both of those books you should have on your shelf. It's just phenomenal. Before I close out the podcast today, I just want to give a little life update. I was hoping to get podcasts out every 2 weeks. This is now week 3, and I'm still like trying to find pockets of time to talk to you because everything has kind of changed in the last 3 weeks. I took a few days off from when the last podcast updated, and then my youngest Ruby fell sick, and then she really actually started to worry us, which has never happened ever with my children. Well, that's not true. But health-wise, and we wound up taking her to Emerge a couple days later to find out that she has an ear infection. We've been lucky. We've never had to deal with an ear infection with our kids before. So she was out of school the Thursday and the Friday, and the entire next week. They had a PA day on that Friday, but she was out the entire week, just taking her antibiotics. We're just trying to make sure that she could actually start to hear better. And while she was recovering and I was, being the primary caregiver at home, I somehow was told about a job, interviewed for a job, and it was accepted for a job. And this is my first job in 12 years. Doing something completely out of my element. And then I started last Tuesday. And so then that was the entire week. And I have all the feels of me not only having a first job after a decade away and having a completely new thing that I'm doing, but also this is the first time that I am working and being a mom. And although it's technically part-time, I am working the entire school hours. So I work from 9 to 2, and then I go pick up the kids, and then I gotta be mom. And that was a huge adjustment just for the 4 days that I've been working so far. And there was a lot happening this week in my little brain space, and I was exhausted every night, and it happened so fast, and I was not prepared. But I mean, I know it's a good thing too, and it's just a life thing that we're gonna all have to work out and work through. Mom's gone back to work, things are gonna have to change, and there was just a lot of adjustment this past week. Also, then no time to finish the podcast. So I've had to kind of book it into my weekend here. But again, it's good. I'm blessed to have had this opportunity and to learn something new. And it's going to be a good thing for us down the road. But this initial adjustment has been a little, what is happening? It's just a little nutso. So those coasters that I made earlier are for my desk. I work from home and I'm working in the basement. And so I'm trying to make sure that my little basement, which is like under the stairs, and it's very dark. I'm trying to I'm going to put up some fairy lights, and I'm going to make it as nice and warm and cozy. I have a candle there and everything. I'm making it as cozy as possible, making it nice and welcoming for when I go down and after I send the kids off work and I rush upstairs to get myself ready for the day and do a smidgen of chores before I somehow fit in breakfast and rush downstairs to go start work in the morning. It's an adjustment, let me tell you. But yeah, that's what the coasters were for. And so things are very exciting and different around here, but it's all good. It was going to happen. I just thought it was going to happen a little later, not right now. So it was all very sudden, but so that's really what's been going on. A whirlwind of a couple of weeks, and now it's less than 1 month before the holidays. Less for a lot of people who do not celebrate the solstices or Christmas. Hanukkah's coming up in like a week and a half. Like all of the stuff is happening. It's now. We're in it, people. It's now. So I'm not doing Vlogmas this year. I'm just going to let you know that's way too much for me. I might try to do it next year in a certain format. We'll see how a full year work will be working for us. But I will try to have another episode out over the next 2 weeks. But let's have a little grace period for me as I adjust to this new life of mine. And I definitely will have 1 episode before the holidays. I'm hoping to get up 2. That would be lovely. But if not, it's all good, baby. We got a whole other year to get to know each other again. And I think that's it. I think that's all we have time for. I would love for you to comment below with, what you've been reading, what you've been watching, what you've been making so far this year. Are you making anything for anyone for the holidays? Let me know. And all of my contact information is in the description box. Mostly I'm just on Instagram or here in your comments, but you can get a hold of me there. And of course, links to all of the patterns and people and books, all of that will be down below. And until next time, happy knitting. I'll see you later.